And now, an exclusive sneak preview of a recent X-Talks webinar, Enhancing R&D Integration with Instrument Connectivity and Data Management.
And there's no indication really that this direction is going to go anywhere but up, which means that the pain of dealing with this data is just going to get worse. A few other points that I want to highlight from this report that we released last year. 53% of respondents say that at least 3 out of 5 of their organization's instruments are directly connected to some type of software. 58% of respondents report that their company is using more than 100 lab instruments in their day-to-day work. And so as we have more instruments and as we have more devices and softwares that people are using, how can we possibly solve this problem in a holistic way? What can we do about this? So as we worked with our customers to understand their challenges for a connected lab, we found that this problem typically falls into one of 3 categories. And by identifying these categories and addressing them, we hope to be able to solve this problem. So the first problem is that a lot of our clients have disconnected instruments. If the instruments aren't connected to anything, then transferring the data has to be manual. And this can be really time-consuming and error-prone. If you have to manually move data around, you might lose the USB drive that you're using to move the data about. You might forget exactly which file that you're taking over. You have contextual problems and things like that. That is a problem by itself, but oftentimes this leads us to the second category of problems and difficulty in the lab, which has to do with data inaccessibility. So if your data is locked on a device, obviously, and you have to manually get it, then that means that no one else has access to that device unless you pull it off directly and remember to do so. That by itself is difficult, but sometimes instrument vendors like to make their data formats proprietary as well. So even when you do pull the information from that device, unless you have the proper software to transform it, or if you have the right version of an operating system to open that file or whatever else, then you can't access that data because it's become proprietary. Furthermore, scientists will often export their data in different ways. Sometimes they do it manually with a flash drive, which has security implications. Sometimes they'll copy a file to a network drive. Sometimes they'll email the data to a colleague or embed it into an Excel sheet or something like that. But because there are different ways to export it, it means that you can't rely on being able to find that data in a standardized way. So you can imagine that this data is coming in different formats, different shapes, different sizes. It's a nightmare for anyone to search, to browse, to understand the data in a reliable way across their own team, across multiple teams, or any sort of data at scale. That by itself, of course, is an enormous problem. And then finally, this leads to our third category of problems with data in the laboratory, which is to do with fragmented analytics. Our scientists, of course, like to use the latest and greatest of tools in their research, which is wonderful, but especially with the advent of machine learning and AI and all of these different ways of analyzing things, there are so many tools to choose from, which means that the way you gather insight from your data is becoming greater and greater and more fragmented over time. Combining that with this manual step of having to copy data from one tool to another, one device to another, you lose that data lineage. So even if you have a reliable workflow for getting data from one place to another, if you're the only one doing it and you don't know how the data got there, then understanding the context of that information, regardless of the tool that you're using, has become lost. This is a problem by itself, but let's take a specific example that a lot of our clients run into. Let's say a few years later, after completing your bioprocess experimentation and you've done a lot of good work in that area, you want to file an IND. Your data and charts look nice, maybe in a PowerPoint or a report of some kind, but if you don't know where the data came from and if you can't trust that data, then it's very difficult for that filing to be approved and for you yourself to have confidence in the science that you're performing. So the question we asked ourselves when we decided to build Connect was how we can help our customers connect their instruments, harmonize their data, and then ultimately unify data management and analytics given this tool. So very pleased, of course, to announce that we have this new feature in Benchling Connect. The idea is that Connect is this flexible open data platform which is built to help increase your R&D throughput and accuracy. It helps you with end-to-end data management. It lets you connect, manage, and analyze data from all of your lab instruments and data analysis tools that you rely on.
To view the entirety of this webinar, visit the link in the description and register on xtalks.com completely free of charge.